Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Some news has hit the league scene, and I will just read through it, give you all the information, then give my take, of course, on the situation. So, a post by the fan club of Movistar Koi made an official statement. This is made in Spanish, and then, of course, now translated in English. I will read through the statement and then give my take after the fact. We also have some comments from the CEO of the main, the main company that has Movistar Koi under its umbrella. But first, let's take a look at this official statement by Las Karpas. Over the past few days, extremely serious information has come to light regarding the internal operations of Movistar Koi. At Las Karpas, we've been collecting and verifying all available data before making any public statements. We believe it's now time to speak clearly. Supporting a club does not mean staying silent in the face of mistreatment, negligence, or abuse, and what certain staff members and players have experienced cannot and should not be ignored. We have learned of completely unacceptable situations. Players who fell ill were not taken to a doctor, but instead treated with homeopathy. A cook who, despite knowing the soup is allergic to nuts, but not exactly which ones, carried out unannounced tests on him to figure it out on her own. A toxic environment at the team house, where people intentionally stirred conflict between players, creating constant tension. One of the most serious incidents, players found glass inside a smoothie. During Worlds, after refusing to continue working with this person, the club provided no alternative. Players had to eat takeout food every single day. These conditions had a direct negative impact on performance, not just physically or emotionally, but financially. There is a performance bonus clause shared between players and the performance staff, awarded solely at the personal discretion of Thier, who I believe is the GM of Movistar Koi, who was there since Mad Lions times. A completely subjective, arbitrary, and unfair clause. Melizet was denied part of this bonus for expressing his opinion during a stream about how an academy team should work. Alvaro and Supa were denied their share because they didn't want to work with the cook and had conflicts with staff inherited from Mad Lions. The way the team psychologist was treated was equally disgraceful. He was constantly obstructed in his work, not reimbursed for his accommodation, paid less than half the salary of the cook, and overall not wanted there. In one case, Melzet paid for the psychologist's flight out of his own pocket so he could attend a boot camp in Madrid, because the club refused to do it. Situations like these are absolutely unacceptable in any professional environment, especially in one that claims to care for its people. This is not about a logo or a brand, it's about the well-being of individuals who have given everything for this team. From Las Karpas, we want to make one thing very clear. If the people responsible do not come forward and publicly give honest explanations, we will begin active protests. We will not allow health, dignity, and respect to be trampled on by those who were supposed to support them and protect them. We are here for the community, for those who have endured these injustices, and for everything this club should stand for. We will not stay silent, we will not look the other way, and we will not stop until justice is done. Las Karpas Executive Board. Now, as a follow-up, we also have the statements from the CEO. And the first one is, I've seen the comments and I'm taking the time to look into them. I take this seriously. I'm not here to defend or brush anything off. I want to understand what's really happening and make sure we're holding ourselves to the right standard. We're on it more soon. Nobody is untouchable. My responsibility is to Koi and to the truth. I hear Koi and I'm working to get to the truth. We are one or we are none. Give me some time and space to make some difficult decisions. Appreciate you guys. Koi is a big name, and it's natural that people want to talk when things are happening. As a CEO and as a father, I worry about the impact this has on the mental health of the people behind the scenes. These are real people, young people. We can be critical without being cruel. Please don't attack our people. We are better than this. This is the CSO. Dear ones, after analyzing the situation and speaking on behalf of Ibai, Grazen and myself, we have decided that sports and executive management in Europe will begin to be carried out from Spain for the first time since the merger. We know it will improve our work and we've already we're already talking about how to start doing it. Tomorrow, I'll be speaking and explaining the topic in depth. I'd also appreciate if we all calm down a bit. We're all working hard and with the best intentions. That doesn't stop us from making mistakes. I don't intend to convince anyone, but I would ask you to trust. So, first and foremost, I guess the main thing is to cover the idea of how likely this is, plausible and so forth. From Las Karpas' point of view, obviously, I don't think that they have any intention to, of course, harm the club in any shape or form. I imagine the information and the statements they are getting might be directly from players or people that have actually worked and competed within the staff, because it could be a commonplace to, of course, from a side of a player that has suffered from injustices, both financial and so forth, and things aren't really changing. And you've tried to, of course, raise this as an issue. And then in regards to the financial incentive that is held against you when you speak up against potential problems, I can see a very, very big conflict of interest there, right? It seems almost like a desperate attempt to try to make certain things come to light and to have justice carried out. Justice, of course, in the form of, someone taking responsibility for some of these things that are happening, because obviously finding glass inside a smoothie is completely crazy. When players were sick, they were not taken to a doctor, instead treated with like crystals or something, like magnets or whatever, which is complete nonsensical work. This, I don't know, bro. The cook who, despite knowing the super is allergic to nuts, carried out unannounced tests on him. This is completely crazy to even fathom that, in terms of how serious, allergies to nuts, it can borderline, be not even borderline. It can be deadly. It can be deadly. If this has happened, it's crazy to even consider. And I can imagine, the biggest frustration of it all is that from the player and the competitive side, that they probably raised these frustrations and they had to live with those frustrations and the disconnect from what the club hopes to, of course, represent. And I think that when you have a completely subjective, arbitrary, and unfair clause, this is also something that can clearly be abused. Of course, there's a big amount of trust in regards to how a subordinate gives out, let's say, not subordinate, but like someone that is above you, gives out their bonuses, right? That's a circumstance that can happen. But if it is used as a not necessarily as a carrot, more as a stick to, break down behaviors that you find disagreeable, that of course is horrible. Usually you want to create this in a way where it can be measurable. So I can, of course, see how this is, terrible. And on the topic of the team psychologists, I think the main overarching thing, because in the end they mentioned that, for Worlds, they moved on from this person. The fact that all of these things were allowed to happen, you can't put it only on the blame on the person who was a part of the team that did these things actively and made them happen. There needs to be some kind of a chain of command that, was responsible for this, because there was no way if the players went through this, the coach went through this, that they stayed silent, because I know how it is as a group that is focused on the performance to be in constant tension with upper management. So this, of course, is insanely disappointing to read. This is some of the most like horrific things I've read in esports. Obviously, the main thing here is that the aftermath, the aftermath of this, right? Considering that this ultimatum or threat or whatever you want to call it, we want to make one thing very clear: if the people responsible do not come forward and publicly give honest explanations, we will begin active protests. And I think it comes from a position of wanting the best for their club. I have a tremendous amount of respect for this. And of course, once again, it's like, I don't know the validity of these claims, but I would say that it's very, very likely that this is coming from a very, very, good place, like in terms of the validity of these claims. I cannot imagine that this is something that will be made up, because it can be clarified so easily, right? So if I am leaning towards the side that all of this is just true, and the accounting of this comes from very, very desperate players and coaches that are extremely frustrated with the situation and want justice served, and they have taken steps going through, of course, Las Karpas. Probably there are people that they know or people that they trust, basically use them as the journalist that brings forward the information and actually put active pressure on the club, because I imagine that the players and the coaches have tried their absolute best through the situation. And in the aftermath here, it's like what the CEO mentioned and the CSO mentioned. It's like they mentioned that they are making changes in terms of who runs the operations. Still, you kind of wish that whoever made these things and made these decisions, it's like, are we going to get more information? Are they going to work in different esports teams? Is there going to be some kind of a public justice, in the sense of, oh, these are the people responsible for this type of malpractice? Because I think that's an important aspect of this process, because otherwise, the standard for the people that are allowed into esports, like people can't get away with certain actions. And I think that's super, super crucial. So from my side, okay, they took the step of saying that they're going to work with, the management from Spain instead of the local one in Berlin, because of course LEC is in Berlin. I do think that this seems to come from, of course, the right place. It's very, very disappointing to hear. Very disappointing to hear. Regardless of what you think about, if you're a fan or not a fan, like this is beyond that. This is so far beyond that. It's like the players who fell ill were not taken to a damn doctor. Testing Super for his allergy to nuts and the glass inside the smoothie. Like, this is things that people can go to prison for, man. This is complete, psychotic behavior. And, some of the things, like, for example, the food part where they fired the chef and had to, order delivery. These are things that sometimes are hard to manage real time. I think this is something that I can understand. Like, I've been in that situation where it's like how you manage budgets and so forth, and you fire somebody. Finding someone to temporarily work for you, especially in Berlin over short periods, is very tricky. Because Worlds was, of course, in Berlin last year. But this is just a small detail. Who really cares about this? In the end, who cares about this little thing? So the team psychologist who worked through these horrific conditions, who probably tried to do his absolute best to help the team, obstructed in his work and so forth, is also like, I wonder what the team psychologist's relationship was to this person who was practicing voodoo and doing allergy tests of his own, of her own, or whoever this person is. Right? I hope justice comes from this. The players deserve better. The coaches deserve better. The Koi fans, of course, deserve better. So that's my take on the situation. I hope justice is served, because this is so important. This is so important that this gets completely, removed from the esports scene, and I hope people will be held accountable. Yeah, I think that's the way to end it. Thank you for watching.